really didn't think that you'd hate my parents like this. How disappointing.
I'm shocked too. Christy, you're terrible.
Hearing this, I finally screamed hysterically because I couldn't stand what my husband Paul and mother-in-law Kate was saying. Why do you both have to make me feel like I'm the bad guy here? Isn't it a common knowledge that a honeymoon is for the married couple? Why can't you understand that it's wrong of you to try to bring your parents along to our honeymoon? But no matter how much I told my husband, he wouldn't listen to me.
I'm taking my whole family to our honeymoon. If you don't like it, then I'll divorce you.
Paul said those words in an irritating manner. Oh, I see. So I guess this means that my husband cares more about his own parents than me. Fine. Let's get a divorce then.
What?
My husband looked surprised when I agreed to his idea. My name is Christy, and I'm a 28-year-old office worker. It's already been 6 years since I graduated from college and continued working for the company I started working for. I kept getting so absorbed in my busy but challenging job that I missed the right timing to get married. Some of my colleagues who were younger than me were getting married as early as when they were 24 or 25, and I was honestly getting worried about myself. I wonder if I'll be treated like one of those old veteran female employees in the office. Of course, there are female colleagues who are older than me. They are very dependable women who can do their jobs well. I admire them, but it's also true that somewhere in the back of my mind, there's a part of me that I strongly feel that I don't want to remain single. That was when I met Paul. Paul is very kind and always prioritizes where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do on our dates. I had never met a man be so kind to me before, so I was very happy and I gladly accepted his proposal. Everyone, including my parents, congratulated us at the wedding ceremony. Even after our marriage, Paul continues to smile and relaxes me with his usual calm face. Even when I come home tired from work, just seeing Paul's face made me feel happy. Come to think of it, my father-in-law is also very calm like my husband, but it was surprising that my mother-in-law, Kate, was more aggressive. Well, we don't plan to live together anyways, and the only time we will see them will be for Thanksgiving and the New Year's holidays. So, I'm not really involved with her. But still, I knew from the time we first greeted each other that Kate didn't like me very much. I had planned to continue working after we got married, but Kate didn't like that. Her mindset was old-fashioned, and she complained, saying, "What kind of wife does she think she is going out to work?" And I think it was also partly because Paul was honest enough to tell her that I had a higher salary than him. "Normally, you should respect your man. If you're going to work, work somewhere that has a lower salary than your own husband." I really couldn't understand Kate's point about that. It's not that Paul was a bad person, just that I made more money than him. Besides, it seems so strange to me to lower my salary just to respect Paul when I know that the job would pay me so well. My husband also agrees with my decision to work at my current company, saying,
"We really don't know what the future holds."
But I haven't been able to fully argue back in front of Kate. Therefore, I secretly thought that I would try to avoid Kate as much as possible so that she wouldn't force me to do anything strange.
Anyways, which travel agency are you going to choose?
Paul asks me. The wedding ceremony is a major life event, but honeymoon is just as important. When it comes to traveling in Europe, there are a wide range of traveling agencies that offer different plans. So, we couldn't decide which agency to choose. I would like to go here, but I'm also interested in this agency's wine tasting tour of authentic French wines. I have always been fascinated with Europe. For some reason, I loved seeing their historical buildings, and I love the atmosphere of Europe, which cherishes its old-fashioned retro atmosphere, while also being very modern as well as being very fashionable. I'm sure that a chance like this only comes once in a lifetime.
I'll go wherever you want to go, Christy.
My husband said this in his usual laid-back tone. It's nice that he's always so calm, but I'm a little frustrated that he doesn't really say his opinion or take the lead at times like this. The only time we get a long vacation is for our honeymoon, and an overseas trip is not something we get to do very often. I'll still think about it. My husband laughed and went to the kitchen for a cup of coffee. It's not often that we get to go to overseas or on a vacation, but more than anything else, a honeymoon is a once-in-a-lifetime event. My husband and I wanted to create wonderful memories that would last a lifetime. For that reason, I didn't want to make a choice that I would regret. Excuse me, I would like to have this tour, please. Sounds great. I'm glad that you found a tour that you're satisfied with. To be honest, it took me more than a month. No, almost 2 months to choose. I don't think anyone worries that much about a trip. I also feel like I caused so much trouble at the travel agency as well. I'm sorry it took so long. I had to ask you many times about the details of the tour. I said apologetically, and the female staff of the travel agency gave me a friendly smile. No, please don't worry about it. It's your honeymoon, right? It's an important once-in-a-lifetime trip, so it's only natural to think it over as many times as you want. There are even customers who spent half a year thinking about it while they are also planning their wedding ceremony. I was really surprised to hear that it took 6 months for some couples to plan out their honeymoon. Our role is to provide a trip that will become wonderful memories for all our customers. I was relieved to hear that from the traveling agency. I was grateful to the wedding planner for her help at the wedding, but now I can only be thankful for the support of so many people who have come to support and help us. Thinking this, I realized that we human beings can't live alone. My anxiety about whether things would go well on the trip naturally faded away, and I was able to focus on my work with peace of mind. That evening, after my husband came home, I told him about my decision. I've decided on our honeymoon plan. I'm going to choose this agency. As I inform him like an excited child would do, Paul responds to me in a relaxed manner, saying,
Well, I'm glad you found a good plan.
I was a little taken aback by his reply, in which he sounded a little uninterested. But I was the one who had longed for a trip to Europe in the first place. And well, maybe this is how husbands in general react to things. Are you looking forward to our honeymoon? My husband looked surprised and said,
Of course. It will definitely be a fun trip if it's with you, Christy.
That evening, my husband and I spent the rest of the evening talking about the trip. Since both of us were working, we both couldn't take 12 days off at the same time, which was required for a trip to Europe. So, we took our time to schedule, but the dates were quickly decided compared to what I had expected. When I reported to my boss that I would be taking the days off, he happily congratulated me. Honeymoons are special. Forget about work and enjoy it to the fullest. Thank you very much, sir. I also told my mother about the trip. Oh, a trip to Europe sounds wonderful. Don't worry, I'll get some souvenirs. I'll pick out some fashionable souvenirs. Thank you. But don't worry about the souvenirs. Just enjoy your honeymoon, sweetie. My mother had sent me off happily. I've already checked the weather in the European region, and now I need to check the flight times, what to bring, and so on. How can preparations for fun things go so smoothly? But unlike me, who was impatient, Paul is a laid-back person by nature, so he seems to be taking his time in preparing for the trip. But both of us had finished packing our luggage a week before the trip. Then, Paul has suddenly asked,
Can I buy another luggage?
I was a little taken aback by his sudden question. What? What we have isn't enough? I mean, you've already packed it, but do you have to repack again to the new one if you're going to order it? When I asked him that, he said,
No, I was thinking of making additional preparations.
which made me even more confused. Then it occurred to me that maybe he was thinking of souvenirs. When I packed what seemed to be necessary for the two of us, there wasn't much room in either of our luggages. I figured we could fit souvenirs for each other's parents and work, but if I found a nice antique over there, I might be tempted to buy it. You're right. It would be nice to have at least one more luggage. I took Paul's suggestion without thinking it through at the time.
Thanks. Then I'll order it online as soon as I can.
I was genuinely happy that Paul had finally suggested something, since he had not given me much of his ideas at the wedding or on our previous trips. And finally, on the day before our honeymoon, I couldn't help but get excited thinking that we were finally leaving tomorrow. Like a child before going on a field trip, I wondered what I would do if I couldn't sleep. Just as I was thinking that, my husband came back home from work.
I'm home.
Welcome back! It's tomorrow!
Yeah.
Should we eat something simple tonight so that we can go to sleep early for tomorrow?
Sure. Tomorrow we have to be up early, right? Before we go to the airport, I have to get my parents... Oh!
What? Paul has suddenly screamed, so I got surprised. What happened? Did you forget something? What on earth did he forget the day before our honeymoon? There should be nothing wrong with our passports or traveling documents. So, I couldn't really understand why Paul was panicking. Then, out of my husband's mouth came these unbelievable words.
I was going to ask you to get tickets for my father and mother, but I forgot. I wonder if it's still possible to get them now.
Huh? What are you talking about? Tickets? Are your parents going on a trip somewhere? Or to a concert or something? I had no idea what Paul was talking about. Then he says,
No, I mean the honeymoon.
Huh?
I contacted my parents after we decided on our honeymoon, but my mom got mad saying that a husband's parents are supposed to accompany to the honeymoon. Christy, have you already reserved the tickets for them?
I was absolutely stunned. What in the world was he talking about? My anger rose to the boiling point. What are you talking about? A honeymoon is for married couples, isn't it? I've never heard of parents going to the honeymoon with the married couple. Even though I was angry at Paul for saying this, he wouldn't understand at all.
No, but my parents are very happy to hear that we're going to Europe, you know?
I don't understand why he'd say such a thing. We just got married, and this is a special trip for us. Do you think that our honeymoon is just a family vacation or something? Then suddenly, the doorbell rang. I glanced through the door and saw my in-laws there. Despite my surprise, my husband answered the door as if nothing had happened and quickly let them into the living room.
I'm sorry to bother you,
Kate said as she held a big duffel bag in her hand. And and it looked like her duffel bag had a lot of things in it. Kate? I was so upset that I was at a loss for words, but Kate continued to talk one after another.
If we're traveling with an airplane, then maybe this duffel bag might be too big. I heard you prepared another luggage, but where is it?
What? Was that for your mother? I looked at my husband, and he looked at me as if he was saying,
Of course.
I don't want to argue with my parents-in-law, but this time, I can't back down either. After all, this was our honeymoon, and I had planned it for a very long time. Besides, we couldn't get tickets for them now, and I had just confirmed online that the tour was fully booked, including us.
Well, you know, Kate, this is our honeymoon.
But Kate seemed like she didn't really care and just replied,
Yes, I know, you both just got married.
My husband didn't look like he was upset about the fact that his parents were coming to the honeymoon. My father-in-law is standing behind Kate with an equally large amount of luggage. Honeymoons are usually for the two married people, right? To this, Kate replied,
What are you talking about? You are the wife who joined our family, and if you are a wife, it is only natural that you should serve your husband's family.
No, I would travel with both of you if this was a family vacation. But isn't a honeymoon supposed to be for the married couple alone?
Well, there is no such rule.
Then how was it when you had your honeymoon, Kate? I was angry at Kate, who didn't listen to me at all.
Well, at that time, my mother-in-law couldn't walk very well, so she didn't come with us. It is the duty of a daughter-in-law to not make things difficult for the mother-in-law, right?
So your mother-in-law didn't actually come to your honeymoon, right? But you're coming to our honeymoon? After hearing this, Kate clearly began to be in a bad mood. But I'm not going to take any step back.
You see, we were very much looking forward to our trip to Europe.
I was really looking forward to this trip to Europe. Just hearing those words, all the hard work and excitement I had been through came rushing back to me, and I almost burst into tears. Even I was looking forward to our honeymoon as a married couple. Then Paul interrupted.
Christy, it's all good. Wouldn't the trip be more fun with my parents around? If we can't make it tomorrow, let's just cancel the trip and find a place where the four of us can go to again.
I was too stunned. Paul is really planning to take my in-laws on our honeymoon. I got even a little dizzy at his statement. I really wanted to endure it, but honestly, I felt like crying out right now.
What? How could you even say that?
When I said this in a voice that sounded like it was about to disappear, my husband sighed and began to say this.
I never thought that you would hate my parents so much. How disappointing.
I'm shocked too. Christy, you're terrible.
Hearing this, I finally screamed hysterically because I couldn't stand what Paul and Kate was saying. Why do you both have to make me feel like I'm the bad guy here? Isn't it a common knowledge that a honeymoon is for the married couple? Why can't you understand that it's wrong of you to try to bring your parents along to our honeymoon? But no matter how much I told my husband, he wouldn't listen to me.
Christy, you've been acting strange lately. You have never been cold like this before.
Paul says with a look of dismay on his face.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. Can I ask you to go home today? You can leave your luggages here.
Saying this, Paul took my parents-in-law to the front door. Kate was saying something by the front door, but I couldn't hear her. When he came back a little while later, Paul said,
Cancel the trip for now and think about it calmly.
I no longer had the energy to even respond to his words. At the same time, I could feel my feelings that I had for Paul go away. Even if I remained married to him, I was sure that he would always put his parents first, not me. There was no need for me to stay married to someone who wouldn't protect me when I needed it. I contacted the travel agency just before their business hours ended. There was no way I could go on a fun trip in this situation anyway. The person who was in charge at the travel agency when I made the decision answered the phone and asked me several times if I really wanted to cancel or not. I told her in a sad voice that I wanted to cancel. The person in charge seemed to have guessed what was going on. She briefly explained the necessary details, including the fact that there would be a cancellation fee the day before. By this point, I wasn't feeling disappointed. It was just a clerical task for me. For the next few days, Paul and I did not speak to each other. Paul says something like,
We'll resume talking when you calm down.
But I don't think I'm wrong at all. So I didn't apologize or even try to talk to him. Then suddenly, before dinner, Paul put the divorce papers on the table.
I'm taking my whole family on our honeymoon. If you don't like it, then I'll divorce you.
Paul says this with an irritated attitude. Oh, I see. I guess my husband cares more about his own parents than me. Fine. Then let's get a divorce.
What?
My husband was surprised that I easily agreed to his idea.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you serious?
What? You're the one who brought the divorce papers and started this. Don't tell me that you were saying that just to threaten me.
No.
Paul looked away awkwardly. I couldn't care less anymore and proceeded to fill out the divorce papers. Some people might think that we were getting divorced only because of a honeymoon. But I knew now that this man would not protect me in any case. I wouldn't be able to live a long, happy life with such a person like him. If he wants to travel so badly with his parents, then he should just go on a family vacation with them. Here, I finished signing it. I handed it to him, and Paul filled it out with his trembling hands. Well, I'll submit it to the city office tomorrow. With that, I snatched the divorce papers from Paul's hands. He looked at me in a frightened way. He may have been emotional and regretted bringing the divorce papers to me, but it is already too late. Once my feelings leave, then there's no going back. So just like that, our divorce was finalized with no problems. When I told my parents about the divorce, they were surprised. But when I told them about our honeymoon issue and my in-laws, they were stunned.
It's a good thing you got a divorce before things got messy,
they said. By the way, after the divorce, my ex-husband complained to his co-workers that I was a selfish woman who didn't take care of his parents. But it seems that his intention to show my insanity by bringing up about our honeymoon was reversed, and instead, his own insanity was exposed to his coworkers. The fact that my ex-husband wanted to take his own parents along on our honeymoon spread throughout the company because in reality, taking his parents to the honeymoon was a ridiculous idea. In no time at all, he was recognized as a mama's boy, and Paul couldn't understand this. It began to have a rebellious attitude toward those around him, saying,
Why should I be told like that?
He was apparently transferred to a regional sales office, but he quit after showing the company how much of a mama's boy he was by saying,
I'll quit if it's too far away from my parents' house.
Rumor has it that he is currently at home, jobless, and he's not even searching for a job. The cause of this seems to be Kate, who has been incessantly calling Paul's former boss to complain and even sending letters saying, "It's the company's fault for forcing my son to resign." She kept saying, "I will continue to sue them until they pay my son proper damages." And as a result, the company sued her for obstruction of business. As a result, the damages were paid by Kate, and my ex-father-in-law apparently had to pay on her behalf. When I see them causing all kinds of troubles in this way, even though we are now strangers, I'm so glad that I got away from them. Meanwhile, I rented an apartment for a single person near my office and started living alone. I still have nothing else to do but work, and I am devoting myself to my job more than ever. Then, a veteran female co-worker, whom I had admired for a long time, complimented me saying,
You've been working harder than usual lately.
Then, the two of us went out for drinks after work, and she taught me about her work and the experiences that she had working at the company.
I'm thinking of creating my own company within a few years. If you like, Christy, would you work with me at my company?
I had only one answer. Yes, I would love to work with you. I guess this kind of adventurous life is for me after all. I hope to meet someone who understands me someday as I live my life in this way. Well, even if I don't meet someone, it will still be fun as long as I'm happy. Isn't the ex-husband really horrible to try to take your own parents on your honeymoon? He is a crazy ex-husband. It hurts to see Christy getting a divorce, but I am glad that she was able to get away from such a man and his family. Christy's work seems to be going well, so please live the life you want and be happy, Christy. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video. Amy, I hope you can do something about the food. It's not very good. What do you mean it's not very good? I'd like you to make me better bread. And they sell better oven to bake bread nowadays. Fine then. I will tell the housekeeper, Emanuela, about this. I am Amy Anderson, and I'm 35 years old. I am currently a full-time FX trader at home. I met my husband Eric, who is 2 years older than me at my previous work. First time, when we met, we were working for a small mail order company. My husband was in the pet food department and I was in the cosmetics department answering the phone calls from customers. Our company habitually flouts labor regulations, so we worked overtime every day and almost always got home the next day. We always looked forward to going out for a drink once a week after overtime with some of the same group of coworkers. Back then, when we worked overtime every day, we had nothing to look forward to, even though we had a high salary due to many overtime. We had no time to spend, and the only thing we looked forward to was going out for drinks to relieve our unfulfilled feelings. I started dating my husband, who was a member of that group, and we got married 3 years ago. I quit my job when I got married and stayed at home for a while, but then started looking for a job I could do at home. I came across FX, bought a lot of books about it, gathered a lot of information on the internet, studied a lot, and started FX trading. And here I am today. Of course, it took me some time and it was not easy to earn money as I do now at the beginning. I bought my computer specifically for FX trading, opened a trading account, studied FX trading for several months and repeated demo trades for practice and traded with small amounts at first. I managed to develop my own style of trading FX and started earning consistently while continuing to study FX trading for a long time after that. However, my parents-in-law, Nicholas and Julia, who lived with me, didn't understand my work. Last year, Nicholas, my father-in-law, retired. Nicholas and Julia were living in municipal housing, but my husband invited them to live with us in our 3-bedroom apartment because Eric thought it would be difficult to live on their pension alone. I pay the rent for the apartment we live in. We were able to make a living thanks to my husband's salary from his work when I started FX trading. However, I have been paying the rent and all of the living expenses ever since I started earning money through FX trading.
Dad, Mom, Amy will take care of the living expenses too, so feel free to do whatever you like.
Thank you, Amy. That is very kind of you, Amy. And that is how I started living with Eric's parents. I don't do any of the housework myself. My housekeeper, Emanuela, does all of the housework for me. Emanuela is a great cook and does all of the other household chores perfectly, which has been a great help and support for me. Since I don't spend time on household chores, I was able to spend more time studying FX trading and blogging about how to make money with FX trading. However, Nicholas and Julia does not like this fact. When Nicholas and Julia first moved into our apartment, they were very polite and thankful. But after 2 months of staying, they started asking me, what's the point of having a wife who stays at home and doesn't even do any of the household chores? She just sits in front of the computer all the time, and that's not work.
Forex is gambling.
They started to say such things like that. Of course, they don't say this directly to me, but they seem to be nagging Eric about it. Since Eric no longer has to pay rent or living expenses and can spend his entire salary at his own discretion, he has become more flamboyant in his clothing styles. He always only wears a custom-made suit nowadays. He only carries high-brand bags and wears high-brand shoes. My husband, who loves fashion, was able to spend money on fashion and seemed quite happy about it and had no complaint. So he was protecting me against my parents-in-law's complaints regarding the work of FX trading. But recently, Eric's attitude has changed.
Hey, Amy, you're always just in front of the computer and you don't wear any makeup and only wear sweatshirts. Isn't that too plain, boring, and horrible?
Do I really need to put on makeup and get dressed up when I am just staying at home, not going out?
That may be fine for you, but it's not good enough for me.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by not good enough for you? Are you saying that just because I am not dressing up, I am not good enough for you?
That is right. Don't you ever want to dress up for me to be more attracted to you?
Attracted to you? What are you talking about? I need to dress up for you to be attracted to me? Since that conversation, Eric, my husband, started complaining about me with Nicholas and Julia. One day after dinner, I was about to go to the bathroom when I heard this conversation coming from the living room. Amy, what is always up with her? She makes fun of us, doesn't she? She always makes us feel bad.
That's right. That wife of yours is making fun of us. She thinks we're so poor because we were living in municipal housing.
Yes, I feel that way too from her. And the fact that she doesn't do any of the household chores is her way of saying, I'm different from you.
She is just gambling to make money. and she's just so bossy about it. Anyone can do FX trading. Even Amy just studied a little on her own and soon started earning $80,000 every month. I can do it too.
You're right, Eric. You can do it too. I don't like how she's bossy and arrogant when she's just making money by gambling and not working hard for it. Anyone can do what she is doing.
Anyways, she's not even cute at all. I always wonder who she thinks she is.
I was working from home, but it was Eric and I's daily routine to have breakfast together before Eric left for work. Eric still works at the same company we used to work with, so he comes home pretty late. Therefore, we should have mutually valued having breakfast together as a time for the two of us, but my husband began to avoid it and would go to work without eating, saying,
I'll just eat breakfast on the way.
Seeing Eric in such manner, Julia said, Eric is getting tired of you because you don't even fulfill your duties as a wife. That's what you get, Amy. She said this sarcastically. What do you mean by duties as a wife, Julia? If you're talking about the household chores, hasn't Emanuela done it perfectly? Nowadays, what you so-called duties as a wife is so outdated. Outdated? We cherish the good old customs at our family. Your grandmother-in-law used to discipline me a lot. What do you mean by disciplined? Isn't it enough if the household chores are done without that? I'm paying her enough for it. Do you think this is about the money? Do you think that if you bring up the subject of money, I will shut up? Just because you are paying for all our living expenses all the time, you shouldn't be bossy and arrogant about it. Julia, who said this to me, seems to be spending a lot of money socializing with people her own age in the apartment building since they no longer have to pay for their own living expenses. And I sometimes see her going out with a number of expensive high-end brand bags that she seems to have bought. Nicholas also devotes all of his pension to his hobby of golf, and he seems to have bought new golf clubs and has a golf bag at his front door. I am the one who is covering and paying for the rent and all of their living expenses. What is up with these people? Even though I question them of their behavior and attitude towards me, my parents-in-law had nowhere else to live, so I just put up with them for now. About a month after Eric stopped eating breakfast with me, his number of going away business trips have increased. Eric said that he was in charge of starting up the new department of the company. He was thinking of importing LEDs from Korea, and his business trips to Korea increased. That weekend, too, he went out on a business trip to Korea. Since my husband was away that weekend, I went out for dinner with Lily, a friend of mine from school, at a fancy Italian restaurant. I had been to this restaurant with Eric before, and there I saw Eric, who was supposed to be on a business trip to Korea. Lily and I were having lunch on the terrace, drinking wine in the afternoon, and in a good mood, when Lily said, "Hey, Amy, isn't that your husband, Eric?" When I turned around and looked inside the restaurant, I saw a woman and my husband leaving the restaurant. Oh, wait, maybe I have mistaken. That is not Eric, right? Because he is supposed to be on his business trip to Korea, right? Lily was trying to cheer me up, but it was obviously my husband, Eric. Every time Eric says that he was going on a business trip to Korea, which meant that he was spending the weekend with another woman. The woman who was with him was a petite, cute-looking woman who appeared to be in her early 20s, much younger than Eric, who is 37 years old. I see. Then I recalled that one time Eric said to me, Don't you want me to be attracted to you? I believe Eric says something like that. It seemed certain that my husband was definitely cheating on me. So the next day, Monday, I immediately requested an affair investigation by a professional investigator. Recently, I have been receiving more and more packages addressed to Julia at home as well. Julia, did you buy something again? Be quiet, Amy. Do I need your permission to buy anything? No, that's not what I am saying. Recently, Julia seems to be addicted to shopping on the internet, buying high-end brand bags and jewelries. I wondered and worried for Julia because there are many fake high-end brand bags which are sold on the internet. But then, I was right. During the day when Eric is gone for work, Julia came into the room where I am working and said, "Hey, Amy, I'd like you to take a look at something." "What is it?" "Just come here." I had no choice but to follow her. And there in the living room, she was opening a package that had just been delivered. I bought 5 bags. They were cheap as a bundle, so I bought them. When I opened the package, they seemed to be fake. Julia, you should be very careful of buying things on internet because there is a high chance that it might be fake, especially the high-end brand bags and jewelries. I wondered how much Julia had paid for the bags, even though they obviously looked fake and cheap. What should I do with these 5 bags? First, I think you should contact the place you bought it from and see if they have a return policy. After our conversation, Julia tried to contact the place where she bought it, but she couldn't find a phone number or any contact address, and when she finally found one, she tried calling it, but was informed that the number was not in use. For 5 fake bags, Julia has paid a total of $5,000. The mail order site was nicely done and did not look like a scam site at first glance. However, the high-end brand bags were listed at a very unreasonable low price. Julia paid for the bags by bank transfer, and there was no way to stop it with her credit card company, and the cooling off period policy was well stated as per the rules, so that she was not eligible for a cooling off period. Julia, you have to be careful for fakes when you're buying high-end brand goods on internet. If the price is unusually low, there is a high possibility that it is a fake, no matter what you think. You have to really think it through about buying it and not jump on it just because it's so cheap. Don't make it sound like I don't know what I was doing, Amy. No, it's not that. It's just, you just wasted money. It's a waste of money to pay $5,000 for a fake. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Since talking didn't seem to help, I went back to my room and continued working. After dinner on Sunday, Nicholas suddenly told me to stop doing FX trading. The previous Saturday, Nicholas went golfing with a friend from his former workplace, where he heard about Forex trading and said, "I heard that Forex trading is a scam." "Amy, are you making money by scamming people?" "What?" "How to make money with FX trading. We will not let you lose your money." That's what they would say to scam out money, which I heard from my friend. "I heard that what you're doing is also a scam, Amy." "No, I'm not making or offering or luring people to invest in anything." "I see you using social networking." "I heard that's what scammer uses to scam people." "No, I'm just doing a blog for people who are interested in Forex, and I'm trying to be helpful. There's no element of scamming at all." "You think you can fool me as much as you want just because I don't know anything about computers at all." "No, so I'm not fooling nor scamming you." "Dad thinks that you are scamming because you make it look so easy for you to make the money, Amy." "It's not easy money, Eric. I told you about this several times now. It's not that easy.
You just studied it a little and then you're making a lot of money out of it. It must be easy. Meanwhile, I'm at work, busting my ass and working very hard to start the new department at the company.
What? Eric, I thought you were supporting me with the FX trading. Do you want me to stop doing FX trading? If I do that, what will happen to the payments? We won't be able to even afford the rent.
I can pay the rent myself.
Since I'm the full-time FX trader, Eric and his family was able to live the lifestyle they are living right now. But my in-laws seemed not to be thankful of that fact and just complained and fussed about me being a FX trader. The next day, I received the results of the investigation regarding Eric's infidelity from the investigator which I previously hired. He was definitely cheating on me. My husband was having an affair with a 25-year-old woman who is 12 years younger than him. I had never met the other woman, as she was one of the co-workers at the company and had joined the company after I left. It seems that this other woman was on the several business trips to Korea with Eric. I had been contemplating for a few days after receiving the investigation results. How should I say this to Eric? This will mean a divorce. That same day, Emanuela came and cooked dinner for us, and just as she was leaving, Julia started to speak. Amy, I had a conversation with Nicholas, Eric, and I, just the three of us, and we don't like everything about you. We will just live on our own, and I want you to leave. Eric had not yet returned from work. We don't want to be supported by the money you made from your scams. I don't like the way you act like you know everything. We have talked this over with Eric and decided. Amy, I'm going to ask you to leave. I had a feeling that this was just the right thing to do. Fine then. The fact that my husband was not even here showed that he no longer had any feelings for me at all. And there was rather no reason for me to take care of these people's lives from the very beginning. I packed my bags that day and moved to a hotel for now. The divorce was finalized shortly after that. Since I had found out that my husband was cheating on me while our marriage, I was able to file him for alimony. I immediately rented a one-bedroom apartment that was suitable for one person and moved into it. I changed the name of the apartment lease where I lived with Eric's to him. One day, about 4 months later, I received a call from Eric, my husband. He said he wanted to talk to me. He said he would come to my current apartment to talk to me. As I was waiting, Nicholas and Julia also came with Eric. I had a very bad feeling about this.
Amy, we are very sorry. We apologize for our horrible behavior to you. Please, live with us again.
Eric said these words with apologetic manner. Nicholas and Julia saw Eric and hurriedly started apologizing also. What? What in the world? What is this? Eric, who was looking down, started to say, "We can't afford to pay $40,000 rent and we are about to be evicted. Even if we get evicted, we have nowhere to go. We are in real trouble, so Amy, please help us." What on earth are you saying? Eric explained. Right after I left the apartment, Eric's new department of importing and selling LEDs, the imported special form of LED from a Korean manufacturer to be used in factories and hospitals, turned out to be defective product. The factory that delivered the LED lamps were informed by the customers that the socket part of the LED lamps had come off, and the bulb part was about to fall off, making the delivered LED very dangerous and unusable, and they had to be all recalled and returned. So, Eric contacted the Korean manufacturer, but since he didn't speak Korean well to begin with, He didn't know exactly what the contract was, and he couldn't return the products, resulting in a pile of defective inventory, and the new department was a total failure. Eric was fired from the company. Not smart of Eric to result in such way. Then Eric brought a computer from his small savings to become a full-time Forex trader, but he failed miserably by trading at high prices without even studying. In no time at all, his small savings ran out. Nicholas and Julia had some savings, but Nicholas tried to use it to invest in stocks to make some profit. But he failed badly because he tried to sell the stocks at the wrong time. Eric and his parents couldn't pay the rent and had no money to even move out of the apartment, so Eric came to me to beg and apologize. We are already divorced, Eric.
Yes, I know, but help us, please.
What happened to your pretty cute girlfriend who is 12 years younger than you?
When I got fired from my job, I couldn't get in touch with her anymore.
Yeah, why would someone go out with a guy who got fired from his job?
Amy, you're all I have left, so let's get married again. Let's get remarried and have another chance with me.
That's right, Amy. We realized that we were the one who was wrong. I am sorry, and this is from the bottom of our heart.
Amy, I apologize for what has happened. I misunderstood you. I'm sorry for calling you a scammer without knowing what Forex trading is. I am very sorry. Amy, I am really sorry. So please, give me one more chance and let's start over.
No way, Eric.
Amy, don't say that. I'm sorry. I'll never cheat on you ever again.
That's right, Amy. Eric will never cheat on you ever again.
Yes, let's all be a family again and live together.
No way in hell I would do such a thing. If you persist any longer, I will call the police on you. Eric and his parents were still trying to talk me in, but when I repeatedly said I would call the police, they finally left. I just cannot believe them. My ex-husband called me twice after that conversation to ask me to get back together with him, but I of course refused. I don't know what happened to Eric, Nicholas, and Julia. I don't even want to know anymore or care about them. But after being home alone all the time working as a trader, I began to think that it was time for me to start dating again. When I talked to my friend Lily about it, she said she would introduce me to someone. I am going to meet up with Lily and her guy friend tomorrow. I am very much looking forward to it and my new beginning.